So I grew up in a small town in Wisconsin where my whole family still lives. Fishing, playing outside, shooting archery, coming home when the street lights went off. The doors were always unlocked. And I remember feeling that I didn't quite always fit. The phones were still tethered to the wall back then. As you might imagine, the cord went down the hallway around 2 chairs and into the kitchen. You had to do the limbo just to get by if you wanted to get a snack from the fridge. And I was what most people would call a tomboy. It was acceptable then and there for a short while until a certain age. In middle school, I had to give up my camo shorts and oversized Nike t-shirts and get girly for the school dance. Yummy. And my hair was always pinned up in 5 different directions or a braid going down the back of my head. And usually I had like dirt or sticks or something else in it from the night before from playing in the woods. And there it was, my black, sparkly, tight 90s style dress. It was mine, and it was as terrible as it sounds. And when I got to the school dance, right, the boys were mostly congregated on one side, the girls in the other, and I stood somewhere in the middle, not quite fitting. I did my best with my friends that night to have fun, to dance, to try to move in those platform shoes, all the while realizing that I didn't quite fit. This was my first experience really trying to conform to this girl that I was supposed to be. And I had never thought I had to be that girl before until that age. It was an awkward feeling. In 1999, Ellen DeGeneres became the first major sitcom actress to come out as a lesbian, and her show was canceled. I didn't know what it meant to me then, but I remember the messages from my family, my friends, my community, and one thing rang very clear, that it was not okay to be gay. After all, when I thought about it at that time, those folks in the media who were portrayed as LGBT were often outcasts of society, serial killers, or someone's aunt who happened to have a friend or a roommate they lived with, right? Those were the messages that I received. When I was in high school, I realized that I was one of those people, and a deep, dark depression sat in my heart. I considered often whether this was a world I should live in. And then I met Lois. Lois was a family-oriented straight guidance counselor from my school, and she was the first adult in my life to tell me that it was okay to be who I was. Lois later helped a small group of friends and I start the first gay-straight alliance at our school, a school that didn't have one before. I don't think we had one in the county, and people still drove their tractors to school. It was a thing. Our small, tight-knit group met under the guise of the name Diversity Club, and we met in a little room down a long hallway across from a staircase next to a janitor closet, sitting atop counters, our rainbow shoelaces hanging down. It was the first time I felt okay. Lois, my friends, sparked something in me. And as an anti-gay group came to our school one year and held a giant banner that said, "Homosexuality is sin," they passed out pamphlets to our classmates that said gay people should die. Should we die? Should I die? They sparked something in me, and my combat boots dug a little bit deeper. When I turned 18, I booked a ticket to work for the Girl Scouts in Alaska, in the land of the midnight sun. And it was there under tall pine trees with the sun beaming down into my tent 23 hours a day next to a lake where loons were never quite quiet, that something shifted in me, and I began to feel a sense of community. I learned how to build spaces for others and for myself, and I felt like there was some hope. I spent the next few years traveling around, leading wilderness trips. I had always taken refuge in the outdoors, and I found myself at 22 doing a senior project to graduate from Prescott College. I had this feeling, I had this idea, that if I could be a Lois for somebody, if I could have a space or create a space for young people like I had in high school down that long hallway across those stairs next to that janitor closet atop that counter, or where I was in Alaska with the sun shining down, that young people could come together. They could know that it was okay to be them. They could celebrate each other and realize they were the ones they were waiting for. I told a lot of my friends about this idea, and some got really excited. Other people in my life said, that will never happen. Parents will never send their kids to an LGBT summer camp. You should grow up, you should grow your hair, you should take your nose ring out, you should get a real job. So I got in my 1989 Dodge Ram pickup truck. It was gorgeous. It was silver and black, and her name was Betty. And I drove Betty across the state to the most rural communities and largest towns. And this is how I originally met 1 in 10, where I work now. I had left messages on MySpace back then, if you remember that, inviting young people from rural communities to urban communities to meet at coffee shops and at libraries to come hear about this idea that myself and some friends had for this summer camp program. 42 youth attended that first year, and now in its 11th year, we've served more than 1,100 young people from across the state, country, and we have a wait list of 500 youth trying to get in. These are the achievements of my community. These are not the achievements of me, they're the achievements of the young people who have pushed through and thought, I'm gonna live another day, I'm gonna take a chance. These are the achievements of the volunteers, the donors, the hours that are put in by our community. These are the achievements of folks like Babe Kaler and Gina Reed, who are sitting at my table over there, who founded 1 in 10 and have fought since long before I was born for LGBT rights. These are the achievements of families, parents, pushing and saying, I'm gonna stand up when all of the messages are telling me that this isn't okay, and support my kid. I thank my community for these achievements because we work together through difference to make a difference. So if you're thinking to yourself, I have this sparkly black tight 90s style dress that just isn't me, please donate it to the 1 in 10 clothing drive on October 11th.